What is up, guys? UFC Fight Night Perth. Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates takes place this weekend. And it's a stacked card. I'm going to be real. After UFC 3, Bury versus Olberg, we had a kind of a lackluster 2 weeks there in the middle, but we're back. We've got a really good stretch of cards. We got this. Next week is Chimaev versus Strickland. And then the week after that, I think, is Arnold Allen versus Costa, but it's also the Netflix card. So we're good, and then we'll be picking it up on the end there, too. I think we got a China card, and then a couple more cards, and then the White House card. So we're back on track here with a bunch of good cards. But nonetheless, let's get started with the early prelim opener of Cody Steele versus Don Marfan. Jesus Christ. I'm going with Don Marfan. Cody Steele is a marauder. Don't get me wrong. He's a maraudster. But I feel like the guy that Don Marfan fought on the road to the UFC final in his last fight was kind of a Cody Steele, like a lesser Cody Steele. So I feel like that was kind of a good warm-up fight for this fight. I like Don Marfan, though. I like his kicks. I think he'll have a size advantage. He's 5'11". Cody, he'll have a 4-inch reach advantage. So that's good. Cody Steele doesn't really move his head. He's one of those guys where he's like middle of the road everywhere, not really great anywhere. And I think Don Marfan is a really good striker. He's only lost to Quillen Selkeld, and we all know Quillen Selkeld is a dog. Cody Steele just had a banger fight against Rongju, I think. Let me check that. I'm pretty sure it was Rongju, though. Banger in his debut against Rongju. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to check this really quick. It was Rongju. I did not need to check that. I should have just known that. And Rongju's good. Like, that's not a bad loss. You know, they went to a really close, scrappy fight. I think this is going to be a really close fight again. I think it's going to be a war. But I just think Don Marfan is a little slicker, a little more technical. I think he has a grappling advantage. If one of them does shoot, I think Fan will be able to succeed there better. I'm not really big on Cody Steele, and I do like that Fan kicks a lot. I think kicking a lot against a guy like Cody Steele is going to be really good, and will lead to him getting a 29-28 unanimous decision. Could be split. Cody Steele could win. He's the favorite, but I like Fan as a slight underdog here. Moving on, Jonathan Miklaf versus Teba Garimbo. I was like, what the fuck? I thought, yeah, it looked weird there. Versus Teba Garimbo. I'm going with Miklaf. I think Miklaf is really good. He just beat Oban Elliott. He was losing that fight before he found the choke. That was actually kind of an Oban Elliott throw, but I thought Elliott was doing really good in that fight. But Miklaf was holding his own. You know, he hurt Oban Elliott with a punch to the eye, and that really changed the fight. Oban shot in. Miklaf has a really good ability to get the back and get the rear naked. He's really big for the division. Tega Garimbo, I don't think is good. Unfortunately, he has a big meaty overhand. He's strong, the rock bottom of house, but it's not going to be good enough. I think Miklaf is a pretty big favorite here, and I think it's deserving. I think he's going to find a KO in round 2. He's going to put some leather on his chin. Also, he beat the French guy from CKB, Kevin Gisette. That's a good win in his debut. And he beat Muhammad Ado, who I was really high on as a Canadian prospect. Turned out not to be that good, but I thought he was going to be the next big kind of Canadian guy in the UFC. Didn't end up being that. He lost the fight in the regional scene after that. But, you know, submitting him in the first round is still impressive. Beating Kevin Gisette and Oban Elliott puts you a level above Teba Garimbo, who hasn't beaten anyone good. A decision with Nico Price. Lost to Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is good, though, and he's on like a resurgence. So, but I think Jordan Mikhalaf is going to be not a contender at welterweight, but he'll be like a just outside the rankings kind of guy. Maybe gets ranked in the 10 to 14 area. I think Jordan Mikhalaf finds a KO here. Up the card to Wes Schultz versus Ben Johnson. Wes Schultz is not a UFC fighter. That's all we need to know. He sucks. He is terrible. He will probably just get fucking KO'd in the first round. All right. Ben Johnson KO, first round. He could get a submission, though, because he does have a sick jiu-jitsu. He got a Solvian stretch or whatever it's called, Slovian stretch. You know, Aljo got it, and Zabit got it on the same night, and that's kind of what it's known for, the banana split. So he could get it done with the jiu-jitsu. I just don't think he can take a punch. And I'm going to take Ben Johnson by first round KO. He's also bigger than him. He's 6'4". Wes Schultz is 6'1". Even though Wes Schultz has a reach advantage, I don't think it'll matter much. Wes Schultz doesn't really have a presence on the feet. So, yeah. Colby Thickness versus Vince Morales. This is a close one, but I'm going to go with Vince Morales against Colby Thickness. Vince Morales is like 0-6 in the UFC or something like that. Colby Thickness just beat a guy an African guy who lost to who did the guy lose to? He lost to a guy, he got like hook kicked or like spitting kicked in his debut, and then he got choked. And that's the guy who Thickness beat, and he didn't really look that good in that fight at all. It was kind of just like a circle at range contest a little bit. So, Josiah Messiah, that's right. I thought Josiah Messiah was going to be really good in the UFC. He didn't end up amounting to much. He lost to Carlos Vera, that's who it was. He was a guy who fought on tough, couldn't make it through, and kind of got that fight to kind of build Josiah Messiah up, and he got caught with a spinning wheel kick and choked. And then he fights Colby Thickness. Thickness kind of just pitter-pats at range for a decision. But I think Vince Morales is going to like bring a fight. Like, he's not going to allow Colby Thickness just kind of pitter-pat at range. He will mix in the grappling. He'll make it sloppy on the feet. He'll be in his face swinging. And Colby Thickness doesn't really have power. He could submit Vince Morales. Vince Morales has been submitted a lot, but he's only lost to like really capable UFC fighters like Roral Rusas Jr. and who's the last? Elijah Smith. That's who I was thinking of. Tyler Lopoulos, who's also really technical, even though he's no longer in the UFC. But Tyler Lopoulos is a really technical UFC fighter. And before that, he lost to Jonathan Martinez and Miles Johns. Chris Gutierrez. Like, these are all really good names. Sung Yadong. He lost to a couple other guys who aren't that good. Benito Lopez and Dominigo Pilarde outside the UFC, but or on the Contender Series, rather. But I think you have to be good to beat. You have to be like a technical sound UFC fighter to beat Vince Morales, and I don't think Colby Thickness is necessarily a UFC level. He had a not really close fight with Alexander Topuria, where Topuria kind of aura-maxed to a decision. He probably should have finished Colby Thickness in hindsight, because Thickness doesn't really have an ability to do anything. I think Vince Morales is going to get a decision here. 30-27, I think. I think he's going to be not better everywhere, but he'll be able to keep up on the feet, mixing grappling, and kind of just crafty vet his way to a 30-27 decision and stay in the UFC, which is good for him, I think, because he needs this. If he doesn't win this one, he's definitely going to get cut again, which would be unfortunate. So we are all cheering for Vince Morales. Up the card, Jacob Malkoun versus GM3 Gerald Meerschaert. This one's unfortunate, and because I really want to pick Gerald Meerschaert, you know? We all love GM3. We want to pick the crafty submission in round 3. But Jacob Malkoun's really solid, you know? He is. He is really good. Like, he hasn't really lost anyone bad. Phil Hawes is really technically really good. Like, if Phil Hawes had a chin, he would be top 10 in the world right now. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a chin. Of course, had the all-timer hip KO against Andre Petroski. One of the funniest moments in UFC history. Petroski shot for a takedown, hit Malkoun's hip with his head, and got fucking KO'd by it. I have no clue how that happens, but it did. Gerald Meerschaert, if this was like a couple years ago, if this was like 2021 Gerald Meerschaert, you know, coming off the Bruno Silva fight, you know, has that swagger kind of thing, I would pick him, you know, but he's lost so many fights, man. He's on a 4-fight skid, all by finish, other than a Brad Tavares fight. Fucking somehow Brad Tavares couldn't find a finish on him. Brad Tavares beat Edmund Shabazian, because Shabazian had an all-time Shabazian performance where he gasses after 1 round. I don't think Jacob Malkoun will gas after 1 round. And if you don't completely gas out against Gerald Meerschaert at this point in his career, you're probably going to beat him. So I'm going to pick Jacob Malkoun to win a decision. I don't think he'll find a KO unless Meerschaert shoots a takedown and hits his hip a steal. Maybe we'll get another hip KO. That would be pretty funny. But I don't see Jacob Malkoun really having power to put him out. And at this point, you can't pick Gerald Meerschaert to win a fight. He doesn't have it anymore. Unfortunately, he doesn't have it. He's 30. How old is he? He's 38 now. Jacob Malkoun is a minus 1,000 favorite. There's always money on a GM3 round 3 submission, you know. So betting wise, you know, chuck $1, chuck a couple bucks on a GM3 third round submission for the fun of it and move on, because I think Jacob Malkoun will probably just win a 30-27 decision, or maybe he'll find a finish. Who knows? Up the card, Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. Kevin Christian is not 6'7", even though he's listed as 6'7". I don't know why they have him listed at that. He's tall for the division. He is really tall, but he's got that little bit of Indian in him, you know? And that's all you really need to know. Billy Alicana kind of broke him in the first round, destroyed him. And if you're getting destroyed by Billy Alicana, I think Junior Tafa will be able to find a KO shot. I know picking a Tafa to win a fight in 2026 is fucking crazy. But Junior Tafa has really sick striking. Like, he himself had Billy Alicana on the ropes before getting submitted in the second round. So, see, there's levels to this. Tafa gets submitted in the second round, Kevin Christian in the first. So that's the level here. Really high-level stuff. Beat Sean Sharaf by KO, the great Sean Sharaf. Lost at Tuku Tukos. Lost to Walter Walker. He's lost to a lot of guys. Like, should have beat Muhammad Usman, to be fair, but Muhammad Usman fucking sucks to give him credit. So both these guys kind of suck. And Kevin Christian should win. Like, you know, he's a better record, has the frame advantage. But I just can't pick him. Like, I just can't. I'm going to pick Junior Tafa by a first-round KO. He has really sick striking, and I do like Junior Tafa. I always fall into the trap of Junior Tafa's striking because he does have good striking. So I'll take the bait again. Junior Tafa, KO, round uno. On to the featured prelim. Cam Rouston versus Robert Bezrik. He fought Brad Tavares in his debut and got a win. But I'm going with Cam Rouston, man. Cam Rouston is really good. Really, really good. Sorry, he fought Iho Pateri in his debut and lost. That's right. And then he came back a year later to fight Brad Tavares. That's right. Finished him round 3. It kind of looked like DDP in that fight, like a lesser man DDP. But Cameron Ralston is really big for the division. He's fucking giant for the weight class. He hits hard, good grappling, trains at CKB, great gym. Is on a big finishing streak. He's had 3 finishes in a row. Almost all of them in the first round. The great Cody Brundage did get to the second round with him, but I think we're going to get another finish. I was thinking decision pretty much all week. But now that I'm thinking about it more, I think Cam Ralston's going to find a finish. I don't know if it'll be a submission or a TKO, but a finish for Cam Ralston, probably in round 2, I think. Because Robert Bezerick, he's getting up there in age. He's 35. He's been around on the regional scene and in Octagon, I think he fought, and in the Polish scene a little bit. He's been around. I just think that Cam Ralston is just, he's good, man. He is really good. And I think he's going to find I'm going to go KO. I didn't know what. I'm going to go with a KO. Robert Bezerick kind of marauds. And I think he's going to maraud into a big straight right. Gets set down bad. Cam Ralston in front of his home crowd. Gets a big win. On to the main card. I hear voices in the air. I hear them loud and clear. Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland is here. I know, we've all been waiting for it. We wanted Tai Tuivasa versus Sharaf. I know that was the dream fight. The biggest fight in the company's history, bigger than Khabib Nurmagomedov. What did I just fucking say? Bigger than Khabib versus McGregor. Bigger than Ilya versus Makhachev. Tuivasa versus Sharaf. It's up there, you know. And unfortunately, we get a little bit of a lesser fight in Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland, but a blob fest nonetheless. And this is a fucking layup for Tuivasa. If Tuivasa doesn't win this, there is no fight he will ever win in his career. Sutherland's got a crafty leg kick and a crafty straight. Other than that, he hasn't got much. The Vanilla Gorilla. I feel like if your nickname is the Vanilla Gorilla, that is the worst base for heavyweight MMA. Shout out Chase Sherman. But Tuivasa also has a crafty leg kick, but he actually has good leg kicks. You know, his leg kicks are actually good, and he does have power. He should have fucking beat Talison Teixeira. Threw that fight so bad. He's got to win this one. He's just got to win this one. There's not much to predict in this fight. I just think Tuivasa is going to go in there. Maybe Sutherland will shoot a takedown. Tuivasa will hopefully stuff it, but if he shoots a fucking takedown, Tuivasa will probably just fall over. Yeah, I'm predicting the Tuivasa slime out, but who knows? Who really knows? Tuivasa might just pull a Derek Lewis and fall over and give up. On to another heavyweight fight. This one is actually a good heavyweight fight. So I'm picking Tuivasa KO for round 1. Shamil the Blob Gaziev versus Brando the Balkan Bear Prates. I'm going with Brando. Brando's sick. He has really good power. He's a bulldozer. He gets in there. He knows how to get a big finish. Gaziev could grapple here. Because we never really seen Prates fight anyone good other than the great Louis Sutherland. But you gotta go Prates. I mean, you don't have to. Gaziev has fought in good guys. You know, he KO'd the great Thomas Peterson. Thomas the Train. Just got KO'd by Waldo Cortez Acosta. not much shame in that. You know, Waldo has really fast hands, really good boxing. And then other than that, he lost to Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who's also really good. And he kind of just lost via not being able to breathe. Gaziev did. Dontel Mays going to decision. We got to finish him, you know? Storming Martin Budai, that's all right, I guess. But I think Prates gets him done in one, you know? And I think Prates is going to get Gaziev done in one with a big-time KO. He's going to maraud him. I feel it. Gaziev could mix in the grappling. He could make it a blob fest and win a decision. But I really don't see it. Brando's big. Brando's strong. He'll be able to muscle Gaziev around a little bit, I think. I'm not worried about... I'm not really that worried about him being held against the cage. You know, he's training at CKB. Good gym. Surely he's working on his grappling. I would hope so. So I'll trust in his grappling, even though we haven't seen any of it. I'll trust it enough to be able to beat Shamil Gaziev. But Shamil Gaziev, man, it is a tough fight. But I'm gonna trust Prates to get it done by a first round KO. On to the feature fight: Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. Of course, Tim Elliott is coming off of his vintage people forget performance against Kai Asakura. Erceg is coming off of the Odie Osborne fight. Has he not fought since then? I feel like the Odie Osborne fight was so long ago. He is. He's coming off that. It was in August. So, yeah. Hasn't fought since August. Other than that, he was on a 3-fight skid against all really good guys. You know, Moreno, Kai Kara France, and Pantoja. Tim Elliott. No. I'm gonna go with Steve Erceg. This is kind of I don't want to say it's a layup, but it's a fight for Astro Boy to get a big win in front of his home crowd. I don't think he'll get a KO or a TKO or a finish of any kind. He could get a submission maybe, but I think he's going to be able to stuff the grappling of Tim Elliott, keep it a stand-up fight, and pitter-pat his way to a 30-27. I think he's going to school Tim Elliott on the feet here. Tim Elliott, it doesn't really have power to make Steve Erceg worry about it. His grappling is good. Like, if he gets Erceg down, he could stall out 2 rounds. But Erceg has really good grappling. We saw that in Pantoja fight, scrambling with Pantoja. If he doesn't shoot on Pantoja in that fight, he probably fucking wins, and he is a former featherweight or flyweight champion. So maybe he still is the flyweight champion. Who the hell knows? But this is like a perfect opponent for Steve Erceg to have a masterclass performance against. Tim Elliott is old. He's getting really old now. He's 39. Wow. 39 at flyweight is not good. Erceg's in his prime. He's fought in the high level of opponents. This is like Tim Elliott's nowhere close to the best guy he's fought, and I think for Tim Elliott, you have to be surprised by his skill. Asakura just fucking shit the bed against him, so I'm not gonna talk about that. But like Tagirol and Bekov, you know, Tim Elliott was his first step up in competition, and he kind of taught him a lesson there. You know, guys like that. But Erceg is like an established top guy at this point. Even though all of the top guys he's fought, he's lost to. You know, having those close fights with Moreno, even though he got comfortably beat, and having that close fight with Pantoja, that puts him at the top level. And I think he's going to be able to beat Tim Elliott by, stuffing the takedowns, getting nice brawls. He could even grapple with Tim Elliott. Like, I wouldn't say Tim Elliott has better grappling than Erceg. I could see Erceg out-wrestling Tim Elliott to a decision. So I really think Steve Erceg is better everywhere. And Tim Elliott doesn't have power to completely change the fight like Odie Osborne, who weighs 10 pounds more than him on fight night. Because that was on short notice. You know, Erceg was supposed to fight. I can't remember who he was supposed to fight, but Ode stepped up and they did a catch weight, which Ode cut to the catch weight, and Usyk had to like bulk up to the catch weight. So you can see where that's a little the weight thing, because even in the fight, Ode looked like a bantamweight fighting an atomweight. So, but Usyk won't have to worry about that with this fight. Elliott's probably gonna be the smaller man. He's 5'7", 5'8". They're around the same size. Usyk's a little bigger. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in Steve Usyk, 29-28. Maybe a 30-27. I doubt it. Probably a 29-28. Tim Elliott probably wins the third. Moving on to the co-main event, Beneil, the victim Dariush versus Quillen, the inventor of sex, Cell-Killed. You gotta pick Quillen, Cell-Killed. Dariush is way over the hump. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say maybe this is a guy like right before he fought Gamrot, or coming off the Gamrot win. Then you'd probably be able to pick Dariush here, but he's just not the same. He can't take a punch to save his life. He's been knocked out in under a minute like so many times in his career. And Cell-Killed's not a guy where it's like he needs a knockout. He has really good grappling, So I don't think that he's going to get in there and Dariush is going to shoot a takedown and Cell-Killed's going to have no clue what to do. So this is going to be a pretty short one, but I think Cell-Killed's just going to fucking knock him out in under a minute. Up on to the main event of the evening. This is a fucking triple time banger. Probably the most 50-50 fight I've seen in a while. JDM, Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. Oh, I'm going to go. With I'm wearing the Carlos Prates shirt. I gotta go with. I'm going with Jack Della. I think Jack Della is gonna be able to stay safe. No, I gotta go Carlos Prates. I'm going with Carlos Prates. I was rewatching the Gary fight. Prates just didn't throw, and in that fifth round, he should have finished Ian Gary. He refused to throw punches in that fight for some reason. I think if they run that fight back, Prates KOs him. I worry about the reach for JDM. I know he fought Kevin Holland, but Kevin Holland is a professional loser in the UFC. I liked, mixing in the body shots potentially, but I think Prates' knees are going to be there. He has such a big reach advantage, just 5 inches of reach. I don't think JDM can mix in the grappling at all. I'm not saying he would look to do that, but I don't see that as a path. Carlos Prates is fucking really good takedown defense. And I think he's going to be able to ping JDM at range and eventually TKO him with an elbow, a step and elbow, as JDM rushes forward. I was thinking JDM like pretty much all week, and every time I thought about this, because I thought he'd be able to just lunge in with the boxing and stay safe, but the reach, I think Carlos Prates, the reach is so hard to overcome if you're JDM. And I think Carlos Prates, he has such a huge ability to finish the fight, and I just don't think JDM can finish him. And that's what it's coming down to. Like, JDM, I do think he's the more technical fighter. I think he has better technique. I think he has better fundamentals. I think he has better defense. But I just don't see him catching Prates with one punch and putting him out. And I could see Prates catching JDM on the chin and slamming him out. Not saying JDM has bad chin. Not saying Carlos Prates has a great chin. I just, the finishing potential is just so much more there for Prates. He's coming off a big finish of Leon Edwards. Before that, fucking destroying Jeff Neal. I know that those two wins haven't, or I guess Leon hasn't fought yet, but the Jeff Neal win hasn't aged great. But I really think that was Prates destroying the chin. Because if you watch back the Earls Medic and Jeff Neal fight, he lands the right hand like pretty much exactly where Prates landed the spinning elbow, right on the top of the temple. So I think they just both found the button. And I think Prates weakened the button for sure on Jeff Neal. I just worry about how JDM's going to be able to close the distance on Prates. Because with the Ian Gary fight, Ian Gary is a long, lanky counter striker, and he had Prates scared to engage with him because he could slip back and counter in, and he could counter in with staying at range. JDM can't really do that at all because the reach advantage is so big, and the size advantage. Like, JDM doesn't have long legs like Gary. He can't teep and circle as much. And he doesn't circle. He doesn't fight on the back foot as much as Ian Gary does. He's a very much, go forward kind of box. He's a boxer. Gary's like a mixed martial artist. So, and Gary was mixing in grappling at times. I don't think JDM's going to mix in the grappling. It sucks, man, because I love both these guys. I'm a huge JDM fan. I picked him to beat Makhachev. We all know how that fight went. Unfortunately, I have to pick Prates by KO in round 3. I just don't know how JDM's going to be able to get in range. I know he did it against Holland, but Holland doesn't have nearly the amount of pop that Prates does, and he's not as good as Prates. Prates is a really good, technically sound striker. His Muay Thai, he probably has the best Muay Thai in the UFC. This is a Muay Thai versus boxing, and I think Muay Thai is going to win here. I think Prates is going to be able to chop the calf, kick his body, teep him, and when JDM crashes, I think Prates can meet him with elbows. And that's pretty much it. I was picking JDM by decision just because I thought he would be able to overwhelm Prates with the boxing, but on a deeper thought, I don't think so. I got Carlos Prates putting JDM probably out cold, if I'm being real. He'll probably put him out cold in round 3, which fucking sucks. I'll probably cry. Anyways, that's my full card prediction for UFC Australia. UFC Pith, JDM versus Prates. Spot MMA signing out. See you, boys.